I was here to tell you a little bit about the imprinter that I have been using. It has helped me tremendously. All of my spine hurt me, my rib cage hurt me, all of my arms, and I was having stomach problems. I was losing weight, and then when I started on with the imprinter, the very first day, as a matter of fact, I went home and I was pain-free, totally pain-free. My joints don't hurt like they did, and I just think it's the greatest thing ever happened to me.
And me and my partner started with a machine drilling straight up. It's a heavy machine. It's just like a jackhammer, upside down jackhammer. And then you put extensions on there to drill up about 16 feet up into the ore. My partner got tired, and both of us were pushing on that machine. And he'd slack off. He'd let down a little bit, and it dropped the whole weight on myself, which I in turn couldn't handle it, and the machine twisted and turned me sideways against the wall. And therefore there the injury occurred. Injury in my intercostal vertebra. From then it helped me out, took the machine away, and I had a horrible trying to straighten myself, and I couldn't turn except to the left side because of the pain. Finally, I went into emergency to the hospital close by. So for almost 15 years, I had a hard time sleeping, just about anything in life, doing anything. I couldn't do much of anything. I was practically crippled. I couldn't stand for not even 3 minutes before I had to sit down or lay down, as the doctor advised me. 2-3 times a day I had to lay down for 30-40 minutes in order to continue throughout the day. After breakfast, I washed my hands, I wiped the instrument, and went through the steps, the procedure that his instructions said. So I finished with it, put it away. I picked up my newspaper, something that I always done for many years. But after that injury, I couldn't, every time I picked up the newspaper, just holding it for a few minutes, I just have to drop it and walk around a little bit and then come back and pick it up again. But after I did what the instruction told me to that morning, it wasn't even 30 minutes when the pain went away. It was a miracle to me. And it's gone. It's cleared up. I have not had a dizzy spell. I have nothing. And I feel wonderful. I'm very grateful. And I hope that other people will be helped us just like I was.
We have two schnauzers, a 14-year-old and a 1-year-old, but our 14-year-old one morning woke up and she was having seizures. She was really in a contracted state, very, continued seizures. Checked her at the clinic. She was having a lot of cardio distress, and quite frankly, I just didn't think she was going to make it. I immediately administered the Guardian to her, took an ampule, didn't really know what I was doing, but put it on her collar. And it was quite remarkable. Within 10 minutes, the seizure stopped. And it was just fascinating over the next few hours how she pretty much just pulled right out the seizures, even her heart rhythm regulated. So it was quite a sight to see, and that was really one of my first big experiences with the Guardian. Later, after we got our little pup, our little 1-year-old Schnauzer, we actually had her in to be spayed, and this is a vibrant young dog we took her in, and I guess she was 6 months old. And the vet calls us an hour after we dropped her off and says we had a problem. She had a reaction to the anesthesia and died on the table, and she was gone for almost 6 minutes without any oxygen. He was able to get her heart going, so my wife and myself immediately rush over to the vet's office. And, of course, just total heartbreak when we see this little pup that was just basically brain dead. She was just basically heart beating, the tongue hanging out, eyes fixed, and it was pretty heartbreaking. I started working on her with a guardian. I did an imprint. I think it was around 7 o'clock. Applied an ampule to her collar, and kept working with her. About every hour I was doing the imprinting, and around 11 o'clock that night, she starts moving around a little bit. But I noticed that after a few hours, she just couldn't see. She was bumping into things, became very fearful. She just couldn't see. So we called the vet, took her into the vet, and of course he is just totally amazed and asked me, what did you do with this dog? I mean, this is not the same animal I saw yesterday. And, he checked her, and her vitals, everything was good. He definitely confirmed she couldn't see. We didn't give up there. I kept working with her with a guardian. I worked all day Saturday and through the evening on Sunday with her. And it was pretty amazing. Sunday morning, we had her in our crate in our bedroom. And she always has a little routine in the morning. She'll kind of bounce out of her crate and she goes and looks for a toy, usually a tennis ball we keep around. And we open the crate up Sunday morning and she bolts across the floor, finds her tennis ball, runs back to her crate. And it was just the most remarkable thing I think I'd ever encountered. And called the vet up. He meets us over at the office on Sunday and just is absolutely astonished. But long and short, we had this little animal that for all rights, probably shouldn't be here. And she's just as vibrant as can be and as healthy as can be, and has her sight back and is just fully functional. So that was a couple of my experiences that we've had with a guardian.
Uh, 1999 is when I first got injured, and then I had multiple surgeries. My foot started looking really bad, worse and worse and worse, developing infections in it. It's got gangrene growing. It became to a point where it was almost 10 times as bigger than my left leg. Regardless, not to mention the pain and suffering that you're going through all the time, developing skin falling out of it, developing sores, developing holes, bad, very terrible odor, and a 5-inch wide and 4 inches deep, big holes developing where you can see my ligaments and my muscles. It was horrible, horrible stuff to go through. My own personal suffering of having to deal with infection in diabetics, it's a really poor thing. Once you develop that infection in the skin starts creating blisters and infections. It just wants, the whole leg wants to turn into gangrene in no time. It turned into gangrene in 72 hours, twice on me. And they told me that the infection went so bad in my body and from my skin to my bones to my bloodstream, until one day they told me, hey, we cannot amputate anything, it's too late. You have got to, we're gonna keep you here in the hospital, keep you comfortable till the inevitable happen. I would say for the first 45 days, every day, I came and I used the imprinter, and something told me to go back to the hospital because I needed some assurance, or needed a third party to tell me whether this is working or not. And to my shock, I went back to the UC Davis Medical Center, and all their tests did not show any signs of infections in my foot. My sensation in my feet got much better. My pain got way less. I cannot describe to anybody how you can, when you take that pain off your nervous system, how a different person you can develop to be. And everything that I thought that I lost in life, we don't appreciate stuff that we can always do, but when it's taken away from us and then given back, nobody can ever imagine how much this meant to me. I've been without not a single infection since I used the imprinter, and 2.5 years ago. I would strongly advise anybody to use it. I got a second chance, and I pray to God everybody else has a chance to know about the imprinter.
Well, I could sort of kind of barely breathe, and I was feeling like rashes and everything, and oh my God. Well, actually, there's more. Well, like, I'd be coughing, I'd be sleeping a little bit. Like I was gonna die? Pretty much. Well, pretty much I went away, and I feel good.
They started her like on 2 prescription medications, and then we went to 3, and then we went to 4. Every morning we woke up with swollen eyes, red eyes, and this constant drip in her nose. And I can distinctly remember 2 days after she began using the Guardian, the red eyes and the runny nose were completely gone. Then we started taking her off of prescription medications just one at a time, and we noticed vast improvements over probably a 2-month period. And now she has no symptoms whatsoever, along with a healthy diet and supplements, healthy supplements.